Hello students, this response sheet or the answer script for mock 1 paper using the CBSE sample paper is for peer evaluation. For peer evaluation, it is expected that you suggest 1 star and 3 wishes. 1 star is that one quality that you like about this paper, and 3 wishes are 3 suggestions that you would like to give to this candidate for improving the response. Let us begin. You can see the reading comprehension is one area where a student can score full marks. That is 20 on 20. But we can see that this candidate has scored only 16 marks in reading, 5 in writing, 10 in grammar, and literature, which is out of 30 marks, the person has hardly touched a few marks. So let us just go through it. Reading area is something where you can see that a person can score full marks, but this candidate has lost a lot of marks there. And if we look at the way the question numbers are written, if it is the CBSE prescribed paper, where the question numbers are given by on the question paper, and that those question numbers should fall in the margin, whereas the literals can fall in the textual area. So give your suggestions for improvement, how this person can improve and what can be done. And secondly, the candidate was supposed to select any 10 and respond. If the person has responded to extra questions, kindly have a look at that also. The same applies to question number 2. Here the candidate has performed relatively better, but if you can see the number of questions to be answered, I believe the candidate has answered more than the required number of questions, or maybe scored it off. Just have a look at it and give your suggestions for improvement. Literature MCQs can again see certain errors. If you can suggest one way to improve, maybe elimination method or anything that you prescribe for attempting MCQ questions, that is multiple choice questions, that will be very helpful. It will be one of the wishes fulfilled. So suggest whatever is appropriate. Let's just have a look at the option. You can see that there are options, and within this there were options A or B, and the person has not written whether he has attempted option A or option B. So you have certain areas where you can give your suggestions. For the grammar questions, you can again see the question numbers where this candidate has written the question number and where the literal options are written. That will definitely make the CBSE examiner hunt for the question numbers. So you have certain ample areas for suggestions. The same applies to the remaining grammar. We have come to the writing section. Writing section, if you can see the breakup of marks for format, content includes the layout as well, the fluency and accuracy. This comprises of the expression. Now for the format, we can see the person has lost marks in format. Let us have a look at the format. We can see the address was incomplete, and then the person to whom he has addressed or she has addressed, the person has not written the name. That means to manager or to the chairman, to whomever the person was supposed to address. That is missing. The address is again incomplete. You can give your suggestions how to improve this, what should be followed. There are certain suggestions given by the teacher, like for example, formal language, use of passive voice, and beginning certain suggestions are given. Opening the salutation, subject, choice of language. Choice of language, kindly check whether it is formal or informal. If it is formal language doesn't require I, and informal language, I, me, us, we is written, well, which is not acceptable for a formal letter. So kindly suggest how the person should have begun the letter and what kind of language should have been used. Usually for writing, passive voice is used. So give your suggestions, construct one or two sentences for your suggestions. Signature Vijay given in the question and Vijay given in the bracket for the name. Suggest whether you can give your full name or if the question paper suggests only first name, how do you write? Kindly give your suggestions. Have a look at the margin and other areas where you need to write something. You look at the question mark. Does it suggest something? If there's a question number missing, have a look at that. Whether this candidate has already started the question earlier. No, he or she has not. Now the question number is missing. And you have a fair idea that if the question number is missing, the CBSE rule is that no marks are awarded for such questions where the question paper is the question number is not correctly stated. So such a question is not marked by the CBSE. But over here we can see certain markings given, that is for fluency, content, format, content, fluency, and accuracy. For content, the candidate has received a zero. Kindly suggest why the person has received a zero. What is missing from here? Then in from content, what how the person can build the content stronger. If it's in an analytic paragraph, what is required? Is it reading and interpreting the graph and giving data? What is missing from here? Fluency, transitional words. If those are missing, kindly suggest few transitional words. What should be used over here for accuracy of language? Look at punctuation and suggest how this candidate can improve this writing. Have a look at it carefully, read it carefully, and if the handwriting is not legible, one can suggest on that. If it is neatness and presentation, that means scoring out and not thinking and writing, you may suggest that how to improve on that. Moving further to the next part, that is literature. You may have a look at the literature, how it is opening. It is just simple narration, restating of the answers, whether it is appropriate or not, whether this kind of response is accepted by the CBSE. Does it contain any textual reference in the answer? Does it have an opening line, opening sentences where writer's name and the title to the story, short story is mentioned, whether the type of prose is mentioned, whether it's a short story, whether it's an autobiographical reference, whether it is a thriller, that kind of prose type is mentioned or not. There's no opening line. Kindly give your suggestions how this person can improve. Have a look at the question numbers, whether it is broken down, and you can also see certain question numbers written in the textual area. Certain questions usually go um, it is not noticed by the examiner, and it is assumed to be a part of the first question. So such questions are not marked by the examiner. You have give your suggestions how this candidate could have done a better job by how to improve the presentation of this. These are two different questions which this candidate has selected from 10A, 1 and 2. Have a look at this option B, and there's a micro question number, and that again is a little misleading for the examiner. Give your suggestions how this person could have improved. We can see that the candidate has already begun without mentioning any reference. Give your suggestions how this person could have written, type the opening sentence for the candidate as a suggestion how this person could have initiated his answer and how he could have built it. Have a look at the text, whether the person has used any textual references. If it is missing, give ideas how textual references or citations can be used. You can see one more answer over here, which is more or less appears like a continuation of the previous answer. These kind of question responses go unnoticed and missed out by the examiner while correcting So this how where should the question number be written? Whether it should be written with the main question number, sub option number, and the sub question number. Give exactly how this question number could have been written. Moving further, we can see the next question, the whether the question number is legible, clear enough, option, then the question parts, subparts, whether the person has selected one, two, three, or not, whether or just two are selected, whether two were supposed to be selected. Then look at the citations, whether he or she has used any citations, opening line. If that is there, over here also the opening sentence with the writer's name, the title to the story, if that is mentioned, whether contractions are allowed or not, whether it should be formal writing or informal writing, pay attention to that and give suggestions how this person could have improved, how this person can improve the expression. You can see one question mark over here, something is missing, and again the writer title. Give your suggestions how this writing the question number. You can see the question number is missing. Question part is given, sub part is given the textual area where it shouldn't have been written, and there are no textual references, no opening line. Give your suggestions how this person can improve the response. You can again see some part is given in the textual area. This is how the sub question goes unnoticed. It appears as if it's a continuation of part of the previous question. Until and unless something is in the margin, some question number, some part is in the margin, it goes unnoticed and it is not marked. The short forms are used. Kindly point out and give your suggestions. Margin, have a look at that also. Question number is missing. Question part, sub question, where should that be written? The opening sentence, writer's name, title to the story. Um, the very first person pronoun is used, whether it should be used, it should be written that way, or what is the better way of constructing? Give your suggestions. Contractions, is it allowed or not? Question number, sub question number, you can see these kind of writings, question parts, these kind of questions go unnoticed. The examiner is not able to notice. Your tiny B sub part written and embedded in the textual area. This is not the place to write the textual, the question number sub parts. Such questions are not marked by the CBSE examiner at all. Have a look at this kind of a common error with the full stop and capital B, which is a connector. It is used to begin a sentence. This shows a very grave grammatical error. Point out what seems awkward in such responses. Have a look at this option. What question number? That is, question number is missing. What is it all about? The opening line, the sentence title, everything is missing, and again contractions are evident. No textual references. Have a look at that. No, there are no citations or textual evidences. It is similar to a grade 4 kind of response. It is not a literary response of grade 10 student. Have a give suggestions how the person can improve this answer to score full marks. Have a look at it once more. Question numbers, presentation, neatness, data, format, formal language. Do you need to write the word date, or you just simply write the date? Point it out. Have a look at the way these answers are written. Select the area where you want to give suggestions for reading, writing, grammar, and literature. Thank you very much. Kindly give one pointer as the best point that one that is seen in this answer script, that is a star, and three wishes, that means three eight suggestions for improvement, how this candidate can improve his or her response for the next or the CBSE examination. Thank you very much for your kind attention.